Gwen Stacy, balcony reveal. In The Amazing Spider-Man, Peter reveals his identity to Gwen Stacy fairly early in their relationship. The reveal happens when Peter climbs to her balcony after a fight, still wearing the Spider-Man suit. Instead of hiding it, he removes his mask, confirming to Gwen what she had already suspected. This is important because Gwen isn't tricked into discovering his identity or finding out by accident. Peter chooses to tell her. Her knowing plays a central role in their relationship across both films. In The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Gwen is not just aware of Peter's double life, but actively involved in it. She helps him with problem-solving, such as deciphering Electro's abilities, and she refuses to let Peter push her away, even though she knows the risks. The consequences are severe. Gwen's knowledge means she is directly drawn into Peter's battles. In the final act, when Harry Osborn becomes the Green Goblin, Gwen insists on staying by Peter's side. The knowledge of his identity places her in direct danger, culminating in her tragic death in the clock tower. This makes her the clearest example of how Peter's secret can endanger the people he loves most. Mary Jane Watson, the defining reveal. Mary Jane Watson's discovery of Peter's secret identity happens at the climax of the original Spider-Man 2. During the final confrontation with Dr. Octopus, Peter unmasks himself in front of her. Unlike Gwen's reveal in the Amazing Spider-Man films, MJ is not told out of choice or romance. It comes in a moment of desperation where Peter can no longer maintain the separation between his two lives. The reveal is a major turning point. Up until this point, Peter's biggest struggle has been trying to balance his personal happiness with the burden of being Spider-Man. By letting MJ know the truth, the wall he maintained finally breaks down. Her reaction is key. She accepts the responsibility of knowing and shows a willingness to support Peter's mission, which makes their eventual partnership possible. By Spider-Man 3, MJ's knowledge defines their relationship. She understands Peter's struggles with the symbiote and his inner conflict, but it also puts strain on their romance. Villains like Venom and Sandman exploit Peter's vulnerability through MJ, showing that her awareness, while essential for intimacy, also makes her a constant target. Aunt May, discovery in the MCU. In the Raimi Trilogy and the Amazing Spider-Man films, Aunt May never explicitly learns Peter's secret. There are hints in Raimi's Spider-Man 2 that she may suspect it after Peter confesses he is partly responsible for Uncle Ben's death, but her knowledge is left ambiguous. The Amazing Spider-Man films keep her entirely in the dark. The MCU changes this dynamic. At the end of Spider-Man: Homecoming, Peter quietly returns home after his battle with the Vulture. Believing he's safe, he removes his mask in his room, only to find Aunt May standing in the doorway. Her shocked reaction confirms that May knows Peter's identity from this point forward. This is significant because it redefines Aunt May's role in Peter's life. Instead of being someone he constantly hides his double life from, she becomes an active supporter. In Spider-Man: Far From Home, she's fully involved in helping Peter balance being a teenager and a superhero. By No Way Home, her knowledge of his secret adds tremendous emotional weight to her final moments, where she delivers the iconic line,
"And with great power, there must also come great responsibility."
Norman Osborn, Green Goblin reveal. Norman Osborn, played by Willem Dafoe, is the first villain in the Spider-Man films to discover Peter's identity. In Spider-Man 1, Norman puts the pieces together after noticing similarities between Spider-Man's injuries and Peter's. During the climactic battle, Spider-Man's mask is torn, confirming Norman's suspicion. This immediately personalizes their conflict. The reveal has two major consequences. First, Norman stops treating Spider-Man as just another enemy. He begins targeting Peter directly. This creates a psychological advantage, as Norman can attack Peter not just physically but emotionally, by exploiting his relationship with Harry and his bond with Aunt May and MJ. Second, it sets up Harry's storyline. Norman's death at Peter's hands, though accidental, is viewed by Harry as Spider-Man killing his father, igniting Harry's vendetta in the later films. The theme continues in Spider-Man: No Way Home, where Norman returns through the multiverse. Here, Dafoe's Green Goblin once again uses Peter's identity against him. By targeting May and manipulating Peter's compassion, Norman proves that an enemy knowing his true face is one of Spider-Man's greatest vulnerabilities. Norman's knowledge elevates him from a physical threat to one of Peter's most dangerous personal enemies. Harry Osborn, from best friend to enemy. Harry Osborn's discovery of Peter's identity is one of the most emotionally charged reveals in the Raimi Trilogy. In Spider-Man 2, during the aftermath of Spider-Man's victory over Dr. Octopus, Harry unmasks the unconscious hero in his apartment. The shock of seeing his best friend under the mask creates a conflict that drives much of Spider-Man 3. For Harry, the reveal is devastating. He believes Spider-Man killed his father, Norman Osborn, in the first film. Discovering that Peter is Spider-Man transforms his grief into rage and betrayal. This leads Harry to embrace his father's legacy by taking up the mantle of the new Goblin. Unlike Norman, however, Harry's vendetta is personal, fueled by friendship turned sour. Throughout Spider-Man 3, this knowledge makes Harry one of Peter's most dangerous adversaries. He knows Peter's tactics, vulnerabilities, and loved ones. Yet, the reveal doesn't lock him into villainy forever. By the climax, Harry redeems himself, fighting alongside Peter against Venom and Sandman. His death while protecting Peter closes the trilogy on a tragic note, showing that Harry's discovery was both a curse and an eventual path to reconciliation. Dr. Octopus. Dr. Otto Octavius is unique among Spider-Man's villains because of how he reacts once he learns Peter's identity. In Spider-Man 2, their final battle aboard the collapsing waterfront reactor reaches its peak when Peter unmasks himself to reason with Otto. The reveal isn't accidental. Peter deliberately exposes his face in a last-ditch attempt to appeal to Octavius's humanity. Unlike Norman Osborn or Venom, Otto doesn't weaponize this knowledge. Instead, he hesitates. Seeing Peter as a real young man, not just a masked vigilante, helps break through the control of his corrupted AI tentacles. This moment shifts the story from villainy to tragedy. Octavius sacrifices himself to save the city, proving that knowing Peter's identity pushed him toward redemption, not further conflict. Nearly 2 decades later, Spider-Man No Way Home revisits this dynamic. When the multiverse pulls Otto into the MCU, he immediately recognizes Peter after unmasking him during their bridge fight. This recognition doesn't neutralize his aggression at first, but once Peter restores control over Otto's mechanical arms, the reveal again reinforces Octavius's humanity. He becomes one of the few villains who, after learning Spider-Man's true face, ultimately respects him instead of exploiting the information. Ned Leeds and MJ. The MCU provides a different perspective on identity reveals, with Peter's closest friends discovering his secret early. In Spider-Man Homecoming, Ned finds out when Peter sneaks back into his room in the Spider-Man suit. Shocked, Ned drops the Lego Death Star he was building, cementing himself as Peter's comic relief confidant. This reveal makes Ned, Peter's guy in the chair, directly assisting him with intel and planning. MJ's discovery is more subtle. In Spider-Man Far From Home, she reveals that she has deduced Peter's secret through observation, not confession. Unlike Gwen or MJ in the Raimi Trilogy, this discovery doesn't come from romance or accident. It comes from intelligence and awareness. Peter then confirms her suspicion, solidifying their relationship. Together, Ned and MJ's awareness of Peter's identity creates a strong support system. However, it also places them directly in harm's way, especially in No Way Home, where villains target Peter's friends to get to him. The film ends with Doctor Strange's spell erasing their memories of Peter entirely. Their knowledge of his identity, once his greatest source of comfort, is taken away, leaving Peter completely alone once again. Train passengers. One of the most iconic unmasking moments comes in Spider-Man 2 during the runaway train sequence. After an exhausting battle with Dr. Octopus, Peter uses every ounce of strength to stop the train, collapsing from the effort. When the passengers catch him, his mask is gone. For the first time, ordinary civilians see Spider-Man's true face. What makes this reveal different is that it doesn't lead to betrayal or exploitation. Instead, the passengers are stunned to realize their city's hero is just a young man. They promise not to reveal his identity, returning his mask when Doc Ock attacks again. This sequence shows the trust between Spider-Man and the people he protects, a theme rarely explored in superhero films of the time. The scene remains one of the most memorable in the entire franchise, because it demonstrates that not every reveal has to end in tragedy. In fact, sometimes it reinforces why Spider-Man continues to fight, because the people of New York still believe in him. J. Jonah Jameson's broadcast. The most dramatic reveal in Spider-Man's film history comes at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. After defeating Mysterio, Peter thinks he's safe. But in a post-credits stinger, J. Jonah Jameson broadcasts doctored footage of the battle, not only framing Spider-Man for Mysterio's death, but also exposing his secret identity, Peter Parker. This moment immediately separates the MCU Spider-Man from previous iterations. For the first time in live-action films, the entire world knows who he is. Spider-Man No Way Home picks up with the fallout, showing Peter's life in chaos. The reveal affects every part of his existence: his education, his relationships, his ability to keep his friends safe, and his standing as a hero. Captain George Stacy. In The Amazing Spider-Man, Captain Stacy realizes Peter is Spider-Man during the final battle with the Lizard at Oscorp. As they fight, Peter's mask is torn off, exposing his face. Mortally wounded while protecting Peter, George directly acknowledges the truth in their final moments. Instead of reacting with shock, he accepts it and makes Peter promise to stay away from Gwen to keep her safe. This reveal is significant because it comes through battle, not deduction, and shapes Peter's choices in the sequel. Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture. One of the most brilliant reveal scenes comes during Homecoming. Adrian Toomes realizes Peter's secret during the iconic car ride scene before Homecoming. As he drives Peter and his daughter Liz, small comments and observations connect the dots until Toomes is certain Peter is Spider-Man. This reveal is terrifying because Peter is trapped in the car, unable to respond. Toomes spares him only because of Liz, but later makes it clear that if Peter interferes again, he'll kill him and everyone he loves. The reveal adds psychological tension, making Toomes more threatening than a typical villain because he knows exactly who he's dealing with. Every time Spider-Man's mask comes off, the stakes change: trust, tragedy, or total chaos. From Gwen and MJ to Aunt May and even the whole world, each reveal left Peter's life tangled in new webs of consequence. Which moment stuck with you the most? Drop it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and stick around. We've got plenty more Spidey stories to swing into.